There's a certain energy in the air right now, a kind of quiet shift that's impossible to explain unless you've lived it. Some people call it intuition, others call it luck, but you know better. It's the universe holding up a secret mirror, reflecting back a side of you that nobody else can see. Lately, reality seems to stretch at the edges. Time bends, patterns repeat, and ordinary moments turn unexpectedly meaningful. It's not just a hunch, something is guiding your steps, weaving new layers into the fabric of your everyday life. While others go about their routines, you keep catching glimpses of something just out of sight, like echoes from a future you haven't stepped into yet. You're not dreaming. You're standing at the edge of a vast inner shift, about to unlock a chapter that nobody warned you about. Before this journey accelerates, I want to open your eyes to 7 unfolding changes that will set your world spinning in ways you never expected. Change rarely arrives with a grand announcement. Most often, it unfolds quietly, weaving its way through the patterns of daily life until everything looks and feels different. Sometimes, all at once, life presents a series of crossroads. In a single stretch of days or weeks, opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly line up, waiting for a decision that could reshape an entire destiny. The next chapter isn't written with ink, it's written through the collisions of circumstances, inner readiness, and the magnetic pull of the unknown. What's coming is a sequence of pivotal moments, each designed to realign life's direction and invite unexpected abundance, purpose, and depth. The first great wave begins with an alliance, an unexpected joining of forces. It might appear as the arrival of a companion, a mentor, or even a newfound sense of harmony within the self. Together, this collaboration sparks an entirely new direction, not because of shared history, but because the union itself unlocks doors that once seemed permanently shut. The result isn't just synergy, it's a creative force that reinvents what was previously possible. This is the spark that sets everything else in motion, drawing out hidden strengths and unimagined possibilities. Right after this convergence, something long invested in, whether it's a dream, a project, or a hidden talent, finally steps into the light. Years of patience, silent effort, or invisible belief suddenly burst forth, revealing outcomes far greater than what was expected. This is the moment when perseverance transforms into celebration, as old obstacles fade and the seeds planted long ago begin to flourish in ways nobody predicted. The landscape of possibility widens, and with it comes a new freedom to experiment and create. Not all change comes from achievement, though. Some of the deepest shifts happen within, reimagining the very way knowledge, intuition, and instinct are handled. The boundaries between logic and insight, old patterns and new wisdom, begin to blur. Fresh methods of understanding rise to the surface, breaking old habits and encouraging exploration far beyond the familiar. Those who once doubted or dismissed now witness a transformation that cannot be ignored, as the definition of what's possible quietly expands in every direction. As these transformations ripple out, old chapters tied to regret or missed chances begin to dissolve. The meaning of success shifts, recognition, prosperity, and influence now follow different rules, ones shaped by authenticity, courage, and a refusal to follow the crowd. Even the ways in which secrets, personal power, and dreams are protected become more refined. The journey doesn't just continue, it reinvents itself, as a new standard emerges for living, loving, and thriving that simply cannot be explained by the ordinary playbook. Some encounters feel less like beginnings and more like recognition. Two paths, long separated, find a way to intersect in a moment that feels both fresh and strangely inevitable. When this alignment happens, it isn't about searching for completion, but about bringing together distinct strengths, untapped insights, and bold ambitions. Together, these combined energies don't just add up, they multiply, forging possibilities that wouldn't have surfaced alone. It's a meeting of equals, each one already solid in their own ground, suddenly aware of the magnitude that becomes available when their momentum merges. At the same time, life has a quiet way of replaying old choices. A distant figure lingers on the edges, noticing what once seemed invisible. Growth, purpose, undeniable progress. This silent observer is haunted by roads not taken, by a decision to walk away at the very moment that the story was about to turn. Their doubts, once voiced as practical caution or impatience, are slowly replaced with the awareness that something extraordinary was unfolding all along. Now, standing apart, they're witnessing the realization of a vision they once doubted. Each achievement a gentle reminder of what could have been, each new success an echo of the chapter they chose not to stay for. This unfolding story isn't about loss or regret, though. It's about momentum and revelation. Every step forward shines brighter because it's powered by belief that never needed outside approval. That's the real victory, not in proving someone wrong, but in growing so fiercely that the evidence speaks for itself. The unfolding journey isn't just a lesson for the watcher. It's a celebration for the one who kept walking, kept building, and now, finally, gets to experience what was always meant for them. What happens next is never simply reunion or recognition. It's a completely new equation, a step into a reality shaped by courage, faith, and unstoppable expansion. And every moment leading up to this was simply training for the kind of breakthroughs that only become possible when the right lives intersect at the right time. It started as a persistent idea, quietly demanding space in a world that didn't seem to understand it. Most would have dismissed it as a distraction, a wishful thought easily ignored. But instead, there was a refusal to let it go. Days blurred into months, and progress felt invisible to everyone except the one carrying the vision. While the outside world measured value by quick wins and immediate approval, a different kind of work was happening behind closed doors. Patient, sometimes lonely, driven by an inner certainty that defied reason. Every setback became a lesson. Every pause in progress offered a new angle, a deeper question, or a chance to refine the dream. While others moved on to safer, proven paths, this vision was quietly evolving. Even when self-doubt crept in, when the outcome seemed impossibly far, something unseen kept the momentum alive. It wasn't hope, it was an inner knowing that the effort was quietly creating something original, something nobody else could recognize until it was finally revealed. Now, the finish line is approaching, but it doesn't just look like the end of a project. It feels like a door opening to a new reality. All that invisible preparation is about to reveal resources and connections that weren't available before. It's like discovering a hidden wing in a vast archive, full of knowledge and perspective inaccessible to the crowd. Most people navigate the world using the same basic instructions, sticking to what's familiar. But there are those rare moments when a breakthrough grants entry to the deeper layers. Places where insight feels like magic and strategy bends the usual limits. This is more than just achievement. It's the beginning of a new cycle, one where the journey itself becomes the advantage, and the doors now opening lead to possibilities that once felt beyond imagination. For the few who kept going, who trusted the quiet urge to keep building, what comes next isn't just a reward. It's the birth of a reality that only the original dreamer could ever have brought to life. There's a reason some people always seem to be just ahead of the curve, catching opportunities before the rest of the world even knows they exist. It's not luck or coincidence. It's the result of having access to levels of understanding that most never realize are available. Different layers of insight begin to reveal themselves, each one offering a fresh set of keys. One unlocks new ways of building and growing, another deciphers the complexities of human behavior so intuitively that outcomes become nearly predictable. Creative solutions show up before problems are even visible, placing those who are open to these insights miles ahead of trends that haven't yet surfaced. Financial intelligence shifts from theory to something living, dynamic, and generational, quietly taught by those who mastered it, rarely found in the usual places. Beyond that, there's the ability to shape ideas into something that travels far, touches lives, and lasts beyond any fleeting moment. Authentic influence becomes possible, built on understanding the currents that move people, not just riding the waves of popular opinion. When a turning point is close, the air itself feels charged. Daily routines start to rearrange themselves, making space for the new direction about to land. The coming days are set to bring changes so intense that the entire structure of reality seems to bend and reshape. Life's blueprint is being rewritten, and the shift will feel unmistakable. Old reference points dissolve, replaced by a sense of movement that's both exhilarating and unfamiliar. Some might already notice subtle changes, a new energy humming beneath the surface, strange physical sensations, moments when time stretches or contracts, and an increasing sense of anticipation with no obvious cause. It's not imagination. Something deep is happening, a preparation for a surge of information and experience. Habits and preferences start to change on their own, old cravings disappear, and new interests appear as if summoned from nowhere. Environments that once felt comforting now feel stifling, while unexpected places offer a strange sense of home. Even the body starts to respond. Sleep rhythms shift, food choices transform, music and people begin to resonate on a different level. All of this is part of a deeper process, a recalibration that's preparing for an entirely new frequency of living. The ordinary rules no longer apply, and the old patterns won't hold. For those ready to receive, a brand new reality is about to unfold, carrying the kind of momentum that can only be found at the edge of transformation. Sometimes, the climb to higher levels brings an unexpected requirement, shedding anything that can't survive in brighter light. The old doubts, inherited worries, and beliefs that once served as shields quietly fall away, replaced by a growing sense that these old skins just don't fit anymore. The further this journey unfolds, the more evident it becomes. There's no room for self-doubt, hesitation, or guilt in the atmosphere of breakthrough. These inner barriers dissolve, not because of force, but because the rewards of leaving them behind are suddenly undeniable. It's an exchange that asks for courage but offers unimaginable access to new realities, solutions, and power in return. The path ahead calls for trust in the ability to step forward without apology, to receive the freedom that comes only from releasing everything that tried to keep things small. This moment isn't about running from fear, but accepting an invitation to live as if possibility is the only rule. There's another unexpected consequence on this ascent. Not every companion from the previous chapters is equipped for this next adventure. Some connections, no matter how meaningful once, belong to stories that have finished telling themselves. As the journey elevates, relationships naturally recalibrate. For some, this means saying goodbye, not out of anger or disappointment, but out of clarity. The roads are diverging, and holding on would mean denying both sides their future. For others, it's about finally letting go of echoes from the past, those what-if scenarios, those shadow memories that kept potential chained to history. The familiar ache of missing someone begins to fade, replaced by the understanding that the new horizon is so vast, so wildly expansive, that old attachments simply can't follow. Worrying about whether something better will appear makes less sense when the entire definition of better is about to be reinvented. Where this path leads, the old measurements don't apply. There is no comparing old comforts to the scale of what's arriving. The leap isn't a small step up, it's a movement into territory so radically new that the old rules become irrelevant. The past no longer serves as a template, and that's the greatest freedom of all. There's a quiet revolution happening, one where fulfillment comes less from traditional roles and more from tapping into something limitless within. Suddenly, The focus drifts from chasing validation in the outside world to nurturing a connection with a wisdom that seems to flow from some invisible, infinite source. This isn't about withdrawing from people or experiences. It's about realizing that every other bond or project is enriched, not replaced, by this deeper channel. It's a shift that changes what matters most, turning personal evolution into the foundation for all other forms of connection. What emerges is a new kind of explorer, someone able to sift insights from the spaces most overlook. Fresh understanding seems to arrive out of thin air, not through study or advice, but as if beamed in from somewhere beyond the ordinary. Clarity lands unannounced, sometimes through flashes that complete a puzzle instantly, other times through dreams so vivid they carry the texture of real life. There are moments when answers show up before questions are even fully formed, or when dialogue with others becomes so fluid it feels like thoughts and words move in perfect synchrony. This isn't something that can be taught in the usual way. The kind of intelligence at play here doesn't follow a script or curriculum. It chooses its own timing, leaving the recipient both surprised and humbled by its accuracy. Before long, those nearby begin to notice a difference, curious about where this certainty, these solutions, are coming from. Questions arise. How did you know? What led you to do it like that? The answer can't always be explained, because it's not found in logic or learned in textbooks. It's something new, a signature presence, and the unmistakable sign that a new level of mastery is unfolding, one that will define every interaction from here on out. Some people have spent years learning to sense subtleties that most would dismiss, not because of any external label or title, but simply by expanding what their mind is willing to perceive. The mind grows more agile, learning to notice layers of reality that used to go unnoticed. With practice, this awareness evolves into a kind of multidimensional clarity, a recognition of knowledge that lands fully formed, bringing with it both a sense of depth and a resonance that's hard to explain. It isn't like regular thought, it's more complete, as if arriving from a place outside ordinary perception. Part of growing into this new clarity is learning discernment, realizing that not everything discovered or received is meant to be broadcast. There's a kind of wisdom in choosing when to let an insight guide personal steps and when, if ever, it should become a beacon for others. The pressure to constantly give away every advantage or secret is real, especially in a world where sharing is often treated as the highest virtue. But some gifts are not meant for public consumption. They are entrusted for a reason and must be handled with care. Just as not every precious object is put on display, not every insight is meant for the crowd. In moments of uncertainty, it's easy to feel guilt for holding something close, especially when voices around demand access or suggest that keeping certain things private is a sign of selfishness. Yet there is a higher kind of responsibility at play, one that respects the timing and readiness of others and the purpose of the gift itself. Sometimes, releasing knowledge too soon or in the wrong context can have consequences no one intended. The wisdom lies in trusting intuition about when to speak and when to simply move in quiet alignment with what's been given. Ultimately, true stewardship of insight is about recognizing that the most powerful forms of knowledge call for guardianship, not exposure. There's a quiet brilliance in learning how to blend in while carrying something rare inside. This isn't about hiding who you are, it's about understanding that wisdom sometimes chooses to remain understated until the moment is right. With each layer of growth, a subtle art develops, moving through the world without drawing unnecessary attention, while quietly gathering abilities that most never notice. This new way of showing up brings unexpected invitations. Doors open in new cities, fresh collaborations appear, and opportunities for travel expand in ways that once seemed unreachable. The outside world responds to your internal shift, eager to engage with what can't be explained but is somehow sensed by those you meet. But the journey isn't only about exploring different lands or building new networks. There's also a movement through layers of thought and perception, learning to switch perspectives as easily as changing a view from one window to another. Challenges become less daunting, not because they disappear, but because new solutions present themselves from places previously overlooked. With practice, these internal shifts become as natural as breathing, guiding you toward exactly what's needed in each moment. What sets this path apart is the effortless way practical and unseen realities begin to blend. Inner work no longer stays confined to meditation or journaling. It begins to show up as real, measurable change in everyday life. Intuition quietly shapes circumstances, helping you sense timing, spot genuine allies, and anticipate the next step before it becomes obvious. Spiritual insights become strategic advantages, transforming ordinary routines into a playground for innovation and creation. The result is a new kind of mastery, a state where instinct and action are fused, where the answers needed appear at the precise moment required, and where luck is simply the visible edge of a much deeper process. The changes are unmistakable. Choices become clearer, partnerships more aligned, and progress accelerates with an ease that others might dismiss as coincidence. But those who witness it can't help but notice that something different is happening. Success seems to arrive on its own schedule, and the right resources or people materialize just as they're needed. What feels like serendipity to the outside world is actually the product of a finely tuned awareness. One that's learning to live fully in both the visible and the invisible, the practical and the extraordinary. Sometimes, just as life seems to have settled into a rhythm of self-reliance, a completely new chapter appears out of nowhere, one that challenges even the most comfortable independence. There's a quiet magic in surrendering to your own growth, building strength from solitude, and dedicating everything to personal evolution. Yet, right as you step fully into this power, an unexpected invitation arrives. It's not about repeating old cycles or falling into familiar patterns, but about the arrival of a connection that stands on entirely new ground. This isn't rescue, nor completion. Instead, it's two lives, each having faced their own storms, arriving ready to create something neither could achieve alone. This new alliance forms only because both have done the hard work, cultivating wisdom, refining their gifts, and moving past the urge to find validation in others. Now, a meeting of minds and hearts takes place at a level neither could have reached through shortcuts or wishful thinking. Their shared vision is fueled by past trials, victories, and private lessons learned in the dark. What they build together isn't dependency, but synergy, an environment where both thrive, amplify each other, and push the boundaries of what's possible. As this new story begins, echoes from the past linger in the distance. Those who chose a different path might find themselves haunted by memories of choices not taken. There's a bittersweet realization that sometimes, by stepping away, one misses the very transformation they once doubted. Regret can become a shadow in the background, always watching, always measuring what might have been. Yet, the beauty is that every journey is personal. While some reflect, others create. While some hesitate, others leap forward, too immersed in the present to notice who's watching from afar. The real wonder lies in what's unfolding now. With every step into this new phase, the doors of possibility fling open wider. Unique resources, insights, and opportunities pour in from places once thought unreachable. Everything that once felt out of reach, whether in business, creativity, or relationships, suddenly appears accessible, as if time itself has collapsed to reward persistence. Life starts to resemble a mosaic of blessings pulled from many realms, fusing into a reality that others will struggle to explain. This moment is more than just personal achievement. It's a demonstration of what's possible when someone dares to move beyond the ordinary. The boundaries between vision and reality blur. The world begins to respond in kind, delivering the right chances, the right collaborators, the right timing, all as if orchestrated by unseen hands. Those witnessing this transformation will marvel at how natural it seems, never realizing how much inner work paved the way. But the journey doesn't end here. Every new advantage is an invitation to expand further, to use each gift with discernment and courage, and to keep building a life that honors the depth of what's been received. The path ahead holds even more than can be seen from this vantage point. What's emerging isn't just success or recognition, but the fulfillment of a purpose that was always waiting to be claimed. A new era is unfolding, one defined by clarity, empowered choices, and the courage to live out the extraordinary, not as an exception, but as a new standard. The story has only just begun.